Welcome to the Contractor Podcast. I'm Nick Holmes.
I'm Regan Weiss. What's going on, everyone? And today with us is none other than Mr. Burkett, owner of Ace Hardware. Actually, 2 locations. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So this would be now what, your second podcast?
Second.
We're sloppy seconds now.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it. You know, he went with Tanner Kilty first. That was like his first big thing. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, get the lower watched podcast out of the way first.
I'm going to stay out of that competition.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. So, Austin, we've spoken before. This is actually your first time meeting with Nick. But you feel like through video, you've met the guy. You've known the guy already. And I think with connectivity, with social media, everyone gets to know everyone. Is he the same guy on video?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, he was a bit violent with me when he first came in, but
Violence?
I think it's trying to establish dominance.
He's got a lot going on, man.
No,
The 6 minutes that we've known each other, yeah.
So I know I'm looking a little awkward today. And my screen's going, I don't know what the hell's happening on the screen right now. We got to figure that out. But it's getting timed out. But I have these Meta glasses. I had to have them. It was a thing. It's for marketing. It records and takes photos. I know I look stupid in them, but I'm trying them out today. I know Josh and Jacob are going to make fun of me later on and use it for, look, they're shaking their head behind the camera. They're going to use it for something later on down the road. All right, Austin. So a quick synopsis, who you are. For the people that haven't seen the Kilty podcast, tell people who you are, that camera right there.
I'm Austin Burkett. I own Burkett Ace Hardware. We have 2 locations, one off of 8080 Moon Lake Road, the corner of Ridge Road and Decubulus Moon Lake. And then I just acquired Swartzel's Ace Hardware off of Grand Boulevard. Been in business for almost 52 years, and so just acquired that. I'm a local Newport Richey resident. Been here for a few years and love the area and love to be part of it.
Awesome.
So can you explain a little bit about kind of the Ace model there? Because I noticed Ace has always kind of embraced like the hometown ownership aspect with just the Ace branding attached to it. Is that?
Yeah, so Ace is not a franchise. So it's a co-op. And so the Ace Hardware Corporation is wholly owned by the retailers.
Really?
Yep. And so when you become a retailer, you own a store, part of the process, you buy stock in Ace Hardware Corporation. And Ace Hardware Corporation then has a supply chain that feeds the stores. So when we order our inventory, the bulk majority of the inventory comes from Ace Hardware warehouses and stuff like that.
So you're basically leveraging their logistics and still being able to run a store the way you want to run a store.
Yes, a lot of the total freedom to the retailer to run it how you want, but you get the economies of scale and buying power of, I think, over 5,000 Ace Hardwares throughout the country.
Awesome. So is that let you go ahead and kind of choose the inventory you want to carry as well, or is that still okay?
Yeah,
really, that's awesome.
And so we do. The vast majority of the products that we sell in the store come from Ace Hardware's catalog, kind of stuff. But we have a bunch of stuff that is not from Ace. One of the things I've been trying to do is find as many local manufactured or regional manufactured stuff to carry. We carry local pickles, which are a big fan favorite. Everybody loves the pickles. We have local honey from the Honey Couple. That's Newport Richey Hives. We got some barbecue sauce from a company called Dags. He's out of Daytona. But we try to find as much local stuff to support, obviously, local businesses.
Little Birdie told me they were also bringing in aromatherapy candles.
That is very true, yep.
So I think that's pretty cool. And for transparency, Austin brought up to my attention, I'm going to take these off now. Austin brought up to my attention that there was a store actually in Texas that was selling purses. Mm-hmm. And like, there was such
hardware store.
Purses in a hardware store, and there was so much draw coming in from women that it's a thing now. So I mean, at the end of the day, this guy's willing to work with anyone on a local, not anyone, excuse me, people of caliber that respect their brand, respect their business, and have a good moral code, but to work with them and bring their product in, which I think is pretty cool.
So, as far as your background goes, I mean, obviously you're 2 stories deep into this now in A's, but what was before this? How did you actually get to that point?
So I was career military for just under 22 years. I was a submarine officer in the Navy, and so I did that for just under 22 years, and then retired. Went into corporate America for a little while, and then broke off, and I started a trucking and logistics company that still operate today, and primarily at this point run Amazon routes. You see those blue Amazon vans around and stuff like that. I have a fleet of those, and then
Oh, you know what? You and I were actually talking about that, and you mentioned the name of your logistics company that was doing those. I've actually seen those vans.
yeah, we're all up in, up in Brooksville and Spring Hill and stuff like that. You'll see. You'll
Really
see.
interesting.
So when you do that, when you start that company, like, do you have a specific thing that you always deliver, or is it like a certain product, like you have privy to that product, or how does that work?
No, so that's so Amazon basically. So you order whatever item, your widget from Amazon, and they pack it and put it in a box. And this box from a warehouse, a fulfillment center is what they call it,
Right.
and that gets shipped to. They have a hub and spoke kind of network, and it gets shipped to ultimately to a delivery station. Delivery station then takes your package, the package that you ordered, mine, all that stuff, figures out where you live, and they have a computer algorithm that plans the routes. And so then the drivers go in and load their vans and then go run the route.
Do they take you? I'm just curious. I never asked you this question. Do they like take you through a full tour of how the whole system works inside those packing stations, inside those hubs, if you will? Like, is there truly like the robotics that are packing things and all that happening?
So that's on the fulfillment center side,
Okay.
where the robots and stuff. I do believe that they're doing robotic capabilities at some of the delivery stations. I actually worked for Amazon, and the fulfillment warehouses, the robots are super cool. They're like big Roombas.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the Walmart distribution center?
No.
No?
When have you? Why am I asking? Nick does everything.
Listen,
I just feel mediocre again every time you're around and you.
we got this gigantic distribution center in the middle of Hernando County.
Right.
Of course, I've been out there a couple times. Yeah, so I've been out to the Walmart distribution center. They're finally, I believe they're like fourth or fifth stage of actually converting the majority of that over to full robotics. And they've got a cool system where they've got a robotic system that actually grabs the packaging and then dumps it to kind of like a conveyor belt system that automatically palletizes it too, and basically kind of figures out the best configuration for pallets.
Yeah, it's all those robotic systems and automation systems that they're doing and just everywhere in warehousing is pretty incredible.
Surprisingly, a lot of their software is coming from Canada. I didn't realize like pretty much all the Walmart software that they're using right now is a software company out of Canada that comes down and actually takes staff members from Canada and places them in those distribution centers to make sure that everything runs right.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Did not know that. All right, so we briefly talked about it before on the other one. Like I said, no one's seen it before. Go into the military career. You don't got to go all in, but just go into the military career, how it started, and kind of your journey there.
So joined shortly after high school. So I enlisted initially. Came as an E1, bottom person bottom rank you could be. Did my enlisted job for 5-6 years. Got commissioned as an officer. Navy had sent me back to school. Went to Penn State and got commissioned, and then became a nuclear officer on submarines. And then I did that for the duration of my career at that point. So
Yeah, that's not for me.
Well, you said you wanted a glimpse of the military today. Now he's like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah, no, I'm claustrophobic as it is.
And so most people, when they think of submarines, they think of the World War II boats that like
Yeah.
that are museums now and stuff like that. And modern nuclear submarines are much bigger. So I'm not saying you wouldn't get claustrophobic, but it's not as cramped as people imagine it to be.
I gave the reference last time. I was like, "It's Hunt for Red October." It's like a
Right.
it's like a cruise ship underneath there. And then he put, hopefully Jacob, you're going to find the right reference, because we tried to use the right reference in the last video, and it was completely the wrong reference. And I asked him. I said, is it true in the Hunt? You know the movie Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
I said, is it true when they turn into the torpedo, if you get to the torpedo before it's armed, will it just fall apart? He's like, that's not, that doesn't work. So I try to use this reference, and Jesse screwed it all up, and it was completely the wrong reference.
Yeah.
So to reference it, it's where he goes, turn to 315. He goes 315, and then he turns, and then they're going towards him, and then the torpedo falls apart once it hits the submarine. But yeah, that wouldn't be the case. It would automatically, I'm sure, explode. I'm not allowed to know that. Never mind.
The inner workings of our.
Is there you are not even allowed to discuss any of that?
You can. There's stuff, but when in doubt of what you're allowed to talk about, you don't talk about it. Yeah. So
I don't have that filter.
That's actually probably good, just theory in general.
Yeah. Once I say that out loud, that's a pretty good rule to live by.
Yeah. When in doubt, just don't shout it out. When in doubt, don't shout it out. That's awesome. All right, so now let's tell everyone. So you just, like I said, you just acquired the Schwartzel Ace, and what I like is what you said is that you were really intrigued by the history of their family, and then I saw a few people online. They were like, "Oh, I'm not sad to see it go, but I'm shocked to see the exchange." And then a lot of people talking about like the legacy. Like, are you going to continue the same things and kind of talk on that transformation?
So it's special. Like this acquisition of Schwartzel is really special, and I knew it would be, but I didn't realize the magnitude of how special it is because. You saw all the Facebook postings. I've been going there since 1975. People come in and I shopped here with my grandfather. This is the place we always went, and that's kind of neat. And that's what my first store. I really hope that 52 years later, people are saying the same thing. I've been shopping here. I went shopping with my grandfather. This is where I go. This is where I've always gone. It's been in the community forever. Right. As I'm kind of going through stuff and looking at old pictures and stuff. It wasn't Grand Avenue, Grand Boulevard. When it opened, it was some county road something.
I think it was Old Dixie Highway.
I think it became Old Dixie Highway,
which was the only road to go through Florida to get to Tampa.
But no, it's pretty special. And then a couple of the staff members have been there for. One's been there for 47 years. One's been there for 40 years. One's been there for over 30 years. That legacy, that history. Yeah. It's almost like you're, to hear some of them talk, it's almost like you're sitting by the fire listening to, wisdom being passed down because, we used to have a John Deere dealership here, and we used to have this, and we did this, and it used to be this way. It's fascinating. But I have to say, I was a little nervous because this is a big change, right? But the staff and everybody over there has been. They're unless they're lying to me, they're excited because I'm not changing. My plan is not to change anything in the way it operates. We're going to freshen up some things.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, we're going to freshen up some things. But the way we do business is not going to change. It's going to be the same great customer service that's been there for almost 52 years. We're going to bring in some product that they don't currently carry, right. But really just take it and make it a better version of itself.
The thing that stands out to me when you bring that up is the difference in kind of work ethics that you see. Like, you talk about people that have been there for decades. Yeah, don't see that anymore. Kids these days are hopping every 3 years for an extra $1 an hour. Yeah, it's just it blows my mind that
that's telling you, Jacob, to shut your mouth and stay put. Okay.
We will take care of Jake.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
So you're not wrong, and I think it's too. Honestly, that's a pretty hotbed topic for most businesses these days. Is generationally things have changed. Our parents and our parents' parents. It was kind of traditionally go to work for a place and. You're a company man. You're there for 30 years. You get to go watch when you retire and that kind of stuff. And that's not the case at all.
Very rare.
Mm-hmm. It used to be if you stay past 10 years, you're making a career. But a lot of people leave the military mid career to go do other things, and I think it's generational. I also think a lot of it has to do with the way businesses have evolved over the years. Companies don't pay pensions anymore. Those legacy expenses are catastrophic to a lot of big businesses because you pay a guy for 30 years, and you have to pay now you're paying him for another 30. So the pensions are gone. But I do think that and I truly believe this. If you build your company, you build your business with a culture that people don't want to leave because they feel like they're part of something. Whatever it is that motivates them, they get that itch scratched. Mm-hmm. I think you can do that despite what the generational changes have been.
I know. Speaking about same thing to the military aspect, I had a buddy who was at dinner with the other night who did 20 years in the Marines. I said, once you get past like that 8-year mark, all the people that are around you are also kind of lifers at that point too. You're all at kind of the same level. He's like, and then you get out of the Marines and you realize like, oh, that wasn't the norm.
That's a very, very true assessment. And the interesting thing about the military is it gets harder the longer you're in. At least that was my experience. Because your level of responsibility is always increasing in the military.
When did you get out again?
2017.
All right, so you got out in 17. What about from when you started to when the new generation kids started coming in? Did you recognize the difference in strength, personality? Were they more introverted as time go on? I'm just kind of curious of the evolution of people going into the military.
It's hard to answer that with a yes or no, right? By the time they'd get to me, right, out in the fleet operational, they kind of gone through that conformity, beat the old personality out of them. So, and if they truly didn't adapt, they're usually kind of filtered out by that point. We have a tendency to shit all over the younger generations, for their work ethic and stuff like that, and 100% of the younger generations are different, but that has been the case for every generation, right? Our grandparents looked at us and said that they're never going to amount to anything. They're never going to run. They can't run the world because I think everybody gets to the point as they evolve through life to where. Not everybody. The hippies of the 60s
running our country
were the ones that became, that were the ones that are running the country now in suits and ties, and they're the man, they're corporate, with
the hippie mentality.
They had their hippie time. But there is definitely different, and we talked about this a little bit on Tanner's podcast. This generation, I think, is the first one that grew up entirely with the internet. Our generation,
the Gen Zers,
our generation grew up we got the internet in our late teens, right?
I was a senior when it was like I got a computer as a sophomore and no internet really.
But even then it was neat, but it was
dial up. We had to wait 10 minutes.
It was neat. Hey, you get in a chat room and chat with people, and AOL Instant Messenger. Yeah. So there was no social media.
No.
And then I don't know if you call it the next generation, but like so you're a little bit younger. Yeah. You had
it all through high school, right? You had internet all through high school.
I had internet starting in probably like the end of elementary school, middle school.
Yeah. So there was no internet when I was in high school and stuff. But this generation is the first one where not only they have internet, right? They have social media. They have smart TV.
Right, and they grow up on a phone.
And their access to information is, light years ahead of what we had.
Yeah.
I still remember the door-to-door encyclopedia salesman. Get the Encyclopedia Britannica. That was cool to have. But I don't know what that's going to be in the future. Right now, it definitely seems to be that it's imprinting on, call it work ethic, or I think it's more they're ingrained with an almost instantaneous gratification because everything they have is convenient. I mean, think about it. You can, that's a really neat widget, and you can get on your phone and potentially have that delivered to your house later on that day.
Crazy.
It's kind of cool. That part's cool.
The Sears catalog before Christmas was, when you get the Christmas wish book was the thing you looked for to find cool toys.
Right.
Now it's you can find the cool toy and have it now. So what that's gonna turn out for them remains to be seen. But back to your question, it was definitely different. It was different for me too, because when people were coming in to the Navy that were born after I had already been in the Navy, for one, it makes you feel old.
Right.
And two, you start to realize they're just beginning their journey, and everything that you know has been through the 18, 19, 20 years of experience. And so I didn't see a ton of difference in work ethic. What I saw a ton of difference is everything is questioned. Everything's a why. Why do we have to do it this? And that in the military becomes problematic.
Right.
Not that people shouldn't question, but obviously the military is a little more one way of doing things. I have hope for the up and coming generations. I think as they experience the trials and tribulations that we all figure out in early adulthood, the pendulum always swings, and everybody kind of tends to swing more towards the center as life kind of comes and hits them in the face. That's my opinion.
When I first met Austin, actually, I think you were online. You saw some of our stuff online. It was either in the hub or somehow we got connected. And I will say you are one of the most persistent men I've ever met in my entire life. And I mean that in a good fashion, but you were persistent in, hey, I want to get involved with community. Nick and I both know that being a part of the community is how you thrive. And in any which way or form, if you're a business owner in your community, you need to be a part of your community. That's just the way it is. So Nick and I, even doing this, like how can we help more people out? How can we bring people on, talk about marketing and branding or business advice, political advice, like whatever the case is, like that's what we want to continue to do. So you're persistent. You came in, you're like, Regan, I want to help in some which way. Let's figure it out. And immediately injected yourself into community events. You started doing building the birdhouses and stuff, and doing events at your office there, which I'm sure you're going to do at your new grand office as well.
Yep.
So your take on that, what was that for you? You were like, all right, I want all in. I need to be a part of the community. What triggered you to just go ahead and, like I said, insert yourself?
So the Ace Hardware is it's kind of its own animal of a business, right? Take Schwartzel's, for example. It's been there for almost 52 years. Right. There's not many businesses and many industries that have that kind of longevity. Right. I don't care what it is. The staying power just isn't there, or the relevance isn't there. And so that was one of the reasons that attracted me to the ACES co-op model, and starting one of those was the longevity of the businesses. Like you start one and it's generational, or can be generational, but the only way for that to really take is if you make it part of the community, right? It's not just a store. It becomes a store where, like I said, with Schwartzel's, my grandpa used to take me shopping here. It becomes almost like a destination. And we saw that with the Moon Lake store. Was that as we've been open longer and longer, we hear customers saying, "Oh, it's Saturday. We always come to Ace on Saturday." Okay, that's cool.
Routine. Yeah, becomes part of their routine.
Yeah, and so. In order for it to really to put the roots in and to have that longevity, you have to put it out there, right? And you have to show that it's part of the community. And one of the things that disappoints me is you see it all the time. Shop local, and also it's really easy to say, not as easy to do. In order for it to be a company that lasts and that becomes integrated with with the community, you have to be part of the community, right? And so that's where, getting out there and people knowing me, part of the name change from to putting my name on it, it's part of that staying power, right? And one of the things that disappoints me is everybody likes to say shop local, right? Well, it's a two-way street, right? You want people who are local to come shop at your store versus Walmart, or my store versus Lowe's or Home Depot, right? Well, you gotta encourage them to do that by showing that, hey, this is a local business, that we are part of it. We sponsor the River Ridge football team. We're part of Huboween. We're doing things. We're doing things that to give back to the community, to show them, like, hey, support us, we support you, right? And I think that symbiotic relationship can only grow and get better over time.
What about the support from Ace? So, like,
Good question.
do they help you with marketing? Do they have, resources for you as far as...
They do.
I don't understand necessarily the benefit of going with a big name like Ace unless you're trying to attract the people that aren't necessarily shopping local, right? They're going on national level, go with the national brand that they recognize. Like, Ace is a strong brand. It's just it's kind of double-sided coin, right? So, like, you got the hometown feel of having just a convenience store, general store, or hardware store, but then you're still just slapping on the Ace logo and kind of bringing in even a larger market at that point.
So that dichotomy that you're talking about, right? Because it's a national brand. There's more Ace Hardwares than there are Lowe's and Home Depots combined, right? It's a national brand. Cool. The difference is, again, and I have to say that Regan was a large part of convincing me to rebrand the store.
Go figure.
I know, right? Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. Throw everything away and start over, right?
But the argument is valid because of what you're saying. When I had it as Moon Lake Ace Hardware, it's an area, right? And it identifies for the area, right? But it's not personal, right? And so Ace Hardware is a national brand, right? But it's not an Ace Hardware. It's my Ace Hardware. You know me. People see on the podcast, they know me. They know the person who owns that. Whereas, sure, Lowe's and Home Depot, or pick any of the national brands that are out there, of anything, they're Fortune 100 companies. You don't know who it is. Right. And my kids go to school here, and they're part of the community. They're going to grow up here. And again, when you have these functions in Chasco and parades and football teams that are sponsored by it, you're not seeing that from the national brands. And Ace helps with the marketing, from what you asked, but they do it on more of a national level. So when you're watching TV and you see the Ace commercials and stuff like that, our co-op dollars pay for that kind of stuff. On a local level, we do that.
What's that store in your neck of the woods? Is it Gorman's? I think it's an Ace is it on Spring Hill Drive?
It's on Spring Hill Drive. It's Crowder's.
Excuse me, Crowder's.
Yep.
But it's an Ace, right?
It is now, yeah.
But everyone says Crowder's, right? So, but is it Crowder's Ace, or is it just Crowder's?
I don't know that they just recently became an Ace within the last 5 years.
Or last couple of years.
But it's Crowder's Ace, correct?
Yeah. But
it used to just be Crowder's.
Just be Crowder's.
It was owned by the Crowder brothers.
Okay. So I wonder why.
A hardware store and a pawn shop inside of it. And
wow.
That's where I used to go buy all my guns.
Go to Crowder's. Get some guns and some nails.
Good price in there. Right. But they still have the gun shop in there, too.
So that's an Ace. And you're allowed to have, that's right, we talked about this. You could have guns in there.
Yep.
That's interesting.
They exert very little control over, they're a good partner. But I think what you were asking was, why not just have a hardware store and not have the Ace brand?
Is it the buying power?
Well, so the whole point of it being a co-op is it's 5,000 stores nationwide buying stuff, right? So we can get the buying power, hopefully close to Lowe's and Home Depot, and so our buying power, the economies of scale of doing that is helpful. But truthfully, the access to that supply chain is super awesome.
I understand that too, and this is where I'll be a little bit critical about Ace.
Yeah.
A lot of the Ace stores that I've been into, kind of seem Kmart-esque, right? Where they've got
Vanilla. Yeah.
every single product you could possibly want. It's not really dedicated to any specific type of thing. Like when I walk into a smaller store like that, specifically construction company I used to work for used to use the Ace in Wildwood all the time. Okay, that was like our number one stop. Stop there before you drive 40 minutes out to Home Depot or whatever, because it was the closest to us. Like that's what we had. But you're talking a 3,000 square foot store, and you got paint, and you got rope, and you got shovels, and you got traffic cones, and you got just everything possible in the store. It didn't seem like it was ever dedicated to one specific thing. And it is kind of overwhelming when you walk into stuff like that.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. We cram a lot of inventory into a relatively small building, but you kind of have to have the variety because
Isn't that the essence of a hardware store, though? It's almost like someone to grab something, everything.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
so we blur the lines sometimes between a hardware store and a general store, and a lot of places in the country, the smaller towns, Midwest and stuff like that, Ace Hardware is the only store in town, and so they have everything to hardware related. Plus, they have maybe a grocery store attached to it, the stores evolve to whatever the owner's kind of vision goes.
This is what the local area actually needs, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, some of the stores are more vanilla than others because there are, I have 2 stores. There are retailers out there that have 20, and those, not disparaging them in any way, but some of those tend to be just more of a generic. Okay, here's what here's what the recommended formula. Inventory is, and we carry that. Then there's other ones. There's one down, I believe, in Bradenton. They have a boat dealership in it, in their Ace Hardware, and so they adapt very much to the area that they're in and what their customers need. So, wherever you want to go.
Do you guys see your competition being more the Home Depots and Lowe's, or more like the True Values, like stuff like that popping up?
I don't view Lowe's and Home Depot as competition, right? They serve a purpose that we can't, right? They are large scale, large volume retailers that happen to have similar product mix to us, right? If you need to buy lumber, you go there. I can't carry lumber. One, I don't have the square footage for it, and the cost to have that much to make that little on it, it doesn't make sense. Why I say they're not competition? They're million square foot stores. They're massive. We have the customer service and the personal experience, and for normal retail customers, you come in. The staff is knowledgeable. They know. You bring in some weird valve you pulled out from under your sink. They got to come up like, yep, here, walk you over to it and help you and walk you through how to replace it. You generally don't get that service level at the big box retailers. And from a contractor or a business standpoint, again, you're not going to buy lumber from me. But you know what? You tell me what you need. We'll work with you. You call us, we deliver it. We build a relationship. You're out there on a job site and you need a box of nails. If you have a relationship with us, we'll bring you the box of nails. You don't have to pay your employee to go. You do that. 20 gallons of paint. We'll bring you 20 gallons of paint.
I thought that was interesting when we first started talking because, the contractor becomes a part of the contracting program for Ace, where we need things, especially in the area, but he's willing to make that delivery, which you're not going to see from a Depot or Lowe's.
Well, and I know of a few Aces that kind of incorporate that model where they do kind of on-site job deliveries like that, but they also run a tool repair truck at the same time. So like as they're running out there, they're fixing nail guns and they're oiling stuff and they're helping guys, as they're providing all the nails and all the fasteners and stuff like that.
And stuff like PPE. right? If you're running a big job site and hard hats, vests, that kind of stuff, we carry those things, and we can keep you stocked on those things. If once a week or once every other week you need us to bring in 15, 20 hard hats and vests and stuff like that, we can do that. It's all about building that relationship, and as well as I do, in business. You're always watching the bottom line, but man, you can step over $1 to save a dime, and people do that all the time. Oh, the most common thing you'll read online, like if you look at the store, is, oh, your prices are higher. In general, some of the prices are higher, but the value is much greater, right? And that's if you're buying one retail. If you're a contractor and you're buying things in quantity, we got you. We'll help you out. So for some people, price is the deciding factor. Okay, that's fine. For other people, it's value, it's experience. Why is Publix around? Publix is hands down more expensive than the other grocery stores out there. They're very successful. They have a great business model. They're a great company, right? People shop there all the time. Why? But it costs more. Well, it's the experience. Right, you go in. It's a well-lit, clean grocery store. They've got great customer service. Their deli counter is great. Pub subs are amazing. It's the experience. It's the value that they get. That's why they're super successful. We're no different. You come in, you're going to have somebody who's got knowledge, who's going to help you. You got questions about your project, we're going to help you out. That's worth something.
I witnessed, actually, I was in the store and I witnessed Roman Plumbing walk in when I was there. And he walked in, he's like, I need this. And the guy was like, let's go. Which, at Depot, and I'm not dogging Depot or Lowe's, but it's sometimes a task to even get someone to lead you in that right direction or take you to that part where the person's like...
9 times out of 10, they bring the wrong section.
Yep.
No, this is a plumbing part. This is not a landscaping.
This is true. Coming from the guy that used to wear a red vest at Lowe's, not to my Lowe's days, you are correct. But yeah, so I thought that was convenient. And then, and I also appreciate the in and out. Because in Depot, you're taking the 30-mile hike to go get it while you're in and out really quickly. It's convenient.
That's one of the things that, as we try to entice businesses and contractors and trades to utilize it, that is... I had talked to a guy who had a handyman business, and I was asking him, why don't you shop at Ace? Oh, you're more expensive. Drywall mud is like $2 more there. I'm like, okay. Do you go shop it yourself? Well, usually I send a member of my crew. I'm like, okay, well, so you paying that guy. How long does it take him to get into a Home Depot and get that mud and get out of it? Oh, it's a while. It's 45 minutes to an hour, there and back. I was like, you can get in and out of our store, in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's saving real money on your payroll. Also, if you had a relationship with us, you can call us and, hey, I'm coming in to get 10 canisters of mud. We'll have it ready for you. Order like that, we'd probably just deliver it to you. Save you time, save you money.
That's been a big part of his, I don't want to say issue per se, but I think it's changing the mindset and the culture of that mindset, like, oh, I'm going to spend more money there. But he's trying to build a relationship with just contractors to come in and build a relationship. And it's almost like pulling teeth, dude. It's like, hey, we're offering a discount. We're offering this. We're offering that. Because we're conditioned to just go to Depot or Lowe's in the morning.
It's the habit. Yeah. It's the habit that's hard to break. And I think it's just human nature. People find it scary to go do something that was comfortable before. But, I'm generally at the store, the Moon Lake store every morning, and I'll watch contractors come in, and they come in, they get their paintbrush or they need a fitting for a job or something like that, and they're out in 3 minutes. And there's no way you're getting in and out of a Lowe's or Depot in 3 minutes. That convenience and that quick service for them. I feel, and I may be wrong, I feel that's a value right there. And you build that relationship to the point where we know you. We don't have a huge turnover in staff. Swartzel's, like I told you, has people who've been working there for decades, right? They get to know you. You call up the store, that has value. What has shocked me is how stuck in habits some of the trades and contractors are.
So if you own Homes Ace, what's your number one draw to get contractors to come in? Blanket discount, blanket percentage off? What would you do?
I think what I would do is start off by picking one trade and just attacking that trade. So, like, if I'm going after painters, I would do everything I can to optimize my area for the painters in that area and make it convenient for them, because all those guys talk, right?
Right.
So, I mean, trades talk all the time. It's easy to go ahead and have that, but I mean, as soon as you can figure out what they need, and it sounds like you guys have some flexibility to specialize kind of what you actually carry too. You gear it towards what the people in the area are actually wanting and needing, and make it more convenient for them than going into a Lowe's. Like, I hate dealing with those sections.
I get it.
Like,
So you're saying focus, dominate, move on to the next trade.
exactly.
That's actually a good idea.
Because the truth is, we're like, because I've talked to him a lot about that. It's like a broad brush, if you will. Let's cast a net of contractors, painters, HVAC, plumbers, when it could be just laser focus, little Tom Brady laser focus.
Just to start off, so you get the customer flow in there, you get people talking about it, and then once you sell it on that, you move to the next trade. I wouldn't even focus on contractors. I'd focus just on tradesmen.
Yeah.
You know, because contractors, write the checks, but they're normally delegating to somebody else anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
What if we throw this out there? What if we encourage because we have a ton of trades, especially if we're down this way.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, if you go shop through Ace, you get our discount, and then we can encourage that way. That'd be something.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Something to offer. And that's something that you can offer, in theory, to any contractor that wants to build a relationship. This is what I think is cool that he's doing, bro. So he's kind of localizing localizing collaboration. So you put a monitor up, which I thought was pretty cool, behind his counter, and any contractor or trade that has a relationship with him, he's putting their advertisements on the TV screen. As it's
well,
going
I
through.
guess that's something to talk about too. What is your primary customer base? Is it actually tradesmen, or is it the local?
Right now it's retail consumer, DIY.
Right.
That's our bread and butter. In comparison, Swartzel's has a pretty good mix of trades, business purchases, and the
I
retail
think
customer.
the local homeowners are going to happen regardless, right? That's just proximity and convenience.
100%. We're looking to grow. The opportunity for growth is the trades, the business to business, and stuff like that. And it's coming. It's one of those things that it takes time, right? It takes a lot of time. You build those relationships, you build the habits. The between habit and relationship, the habit usually wins out. Right. 9 times out of 10, this is where we go. This is where we buy our stuff. And the guy, the OG who's been working for that company trains the new guy. The new guy learns. That's where we go to get it, right? And so breaking that habit is the challenge. It's coming along. It's getting better. It just takes longer to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if you focus on the actual trades individually, I mean, you could easily look at like a Florida Paints and figure out what they're doing and figure out why you're doing it better, right? Get those people to easily transfer over, and then hop over to Electric, look at CES, and see why people are going to those supply stores instead of that kind of stuff. Just
a lot of them, it's the credit too, though, right? Because like CES and all them, they offer a line of credit at the store. I think it's not a big part of it as well.
well, a big part of it, yeah. I mean,
some of the guys, they're think about it. You know that these bills come in, and if you can get a 30-day net versus I need to cut this chunk right now for $20,000 for wiring for the house, they're gonna go use that credit.
I just had to send our painters driving down to Tampa to go get sealant that we couldn't find anywhere.
Sealant
for windows.
Oh, sealant.
Yeah.
Well, you let me know what
I know the project he's talking about.
Yeah.
So that would be great. That's something we can do, and just then he orders it. All right, that's another relationship. Either way, wow.
And that's the interesting thing is that what you see on the shelves is nowhere near. It's the tip of the iceberg of what we can get. if Ace doesn't have it in their supply chain network, then we get it through a different distribution, or we go directly to the manufacturer and get wholesale set up for it. I'm working on a couple things right now, doing that very thing. If I have to order by the pallet, I'll order by the pallet. To make it more convenient for a roofing company or a paint company, that kind of stuff.
Well, I know you mentioned possibilities of delivery and stuff like that. I mean, do you ever think about just drop shipping directly from suppliers to?
That becomes cost prohibitive, depending on what it is.
Okay.
And so you would have to involve another third party in doing that, and that would probably bring the cost too high.
The only reason I bring that, so like my dad owns a distribution company. Okay, that's essentially what he does for a lot of his roofing companies, the siding companies, stuff like that. Is basically just organizes the transport from one side to the other, and making a decent cut at that point. But those are guys that have the warehouse space anyway that never have to go to the store at all.
The last mile delivery is always a challenging problem, right? Because certainly if you own a company and you needed 7 pallets of something, rather than it pass through my store, that full truckload I would just, where do you want it? and I have it sent there. But usually, in order to when you place the orders, it's going to be spread over multiple orders. The freight expense. So,
in order for them to get a hold of you, if there's like a special request, do they go through Messenger? Is it an email?
So, with the newness of the acquisition of the second store, we're still working out the logistics of communication. Right now, the best way to do it, we go to the Burkett Ace Hardware Facebook page, and you send a message via Messenger. That way, 4 or 5 people are going to read that. You can always call the store directly too. Anthony is the store manager over at the Moon Lake store. The Swartzels.
Is he the direct? Would he be the direct point of contact?
That would be the best. Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I always have a lot of plates spinning. So
Understood.
Reaching out to
don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Reaching out to me directly, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
It may not be
We don't call Nick direct ever. We call the office. I'm at that stage where he's like, "Can you call Rosie, please?" I'm like, "Wow, I'm went down here." Okay.
So Anthony is the store manager over at Moon Lake. Kathy is the store manager over here at Swartzels. But you can reach out through Messenger.
Facebook Messenger? Through Facebook Messenger. So then Anthony will get that. You'll see that eventually at some point, and then you can build that relationship. So you are actively looking to build relationships where you said, come into the store, come meet me, come set up a time, and let's have a discussion. So, and then I also said you could utilize the collaboratory space at any time to come in and have a discussion with trades. And I think that's really cool that you're doing that, because at the end of the day, you don't see that with a lot of relationships and a lot of people trying to build relationships. And you've already done it now, obviously, with us. You've done it now with Rachel over at the D Bank, and then quite a few others as well. You know what's cool? He's building the relationship with Kilty, to where now Kilty's going to have almost like a cutout of himself with a reminder pointing at filters, be like, "Did you change your filter this month?" So it's like a collaboration of in marketing, which I think is really cool too. At the end of the day, it's all about that.
I think it'd be really cool if we could go ahead and set up like a trades appreciation day at one of your stores and do like a little parking lot cookout and bring all of our guys to your location.
That'd be big. That's a lot of trades.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a ton of trades.
So we got a ton of subs, and we used to do that all the time in the villages.
Yep.
That's how we made those relationships, is because those guys are, taking 15, 20 minutes to swing by.
What about so I know we got to wrap it up, but what about your distribution individuals, your manufacturers, the people that give you product? Would they be willing to go in all in one day? So it's like trades, the people that give product, the pickle guy, the honey guy, the screw and nut bolt guy, the easy go. Would they all come to do that same day? Is that something possible?
A lot of the different sales reps for the different companies, they have people who do that and stuff. It's aligning the moon and stars that they're available at the time that you're doing.
So better chance just to get us on a local level to do it, because we're going to be able to align those stars a lot quicker because we control the tides.
Before we just want to give a shameless plug that we're doing a kids event on June 8th after the Rap River Run.
It will be done before then.
After the Rap River Run.
There's another shameless plug. Rap River Run, June 8th, 7 a.m. It's a 5K, 10K, downtown Newport Richey. This is officially my 13th year as the MC. See how I turned on my MC voice immediately for that?
I'm Regan.
And I turned on that. So yeah, 13 years doing that. Victoria Barley, God bless her. This is her last year as the chair. And Stephanie Pontlance is going to be stepping in after that. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that publicly. Oh, well. So that's coming out. Victoria Barley's last year. Bless her. And then right after that, yours is at 9.
It starts at 9.
9 o'clock at
the Moon Lake store.
8080 Moon Lake Road. And they're building
toolboxes.
Toolboxes.
It's a kids event. We're providing a small little toolbox. It's real cute, real tiny little toolbox kit for the kids to build and paint. Just so happens that the next weekend is Father's Day, so we're providing the toolbox and the area for them. We did this a few months ago with birdhouses.
Yes.
It was absolutely phenomenal turnout. All the kids had a great time. And this is the part where you were talking about why do this kind of business. This is why I do the business. Is that we can do that kind of stuff. And for Father's Day, nothing's cooler than having something your kid made.
100%. 100%.
Even if it looks terrible, that's even better.
You can't throw it out.
No,
it might go in the drawer or in the cabinet with a bunch of other stuff, but you can't throw it out. And it's funny because now, you have older child as well. His are still peanuts. And mine are like, Dad, do you remember when you built it or when I did this for you? And I'm like, yeah, it's in that cabinet over there. I have it, I promise.
This is one of those opportunities to get some of that stuff made.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
June 8th at the 8080 Moon Lake Road.
All right. Well, thanks for giving us a glimpse of your life today.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you. This is the Contractor Podcast, and a lot of people here are looking for Barndos and also looking for information to collaborate with others. So hopefully we can connect with others as well. You got 8080 Moon Lake Road. That is the Burkett Ace. And what's the other address?
4411 Grand Boulevard.
4411 Grand Boulevard is his other location. And then stay tuned for the small rehab he's going to be doing over there as well. And then as for Nick and myself, we will see you soon.